Call to order the Cumberland County Finance meeting, and we will begin with a roll call, please, Desiree.
Commissioner Niederer,
I am here.
Commissioner Fauci,
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
We will move on to the agenda for the portion now is up for public comment. If there's anyone online wishing to make a public comment, please use the raise your hand feature.
No requests at this time.
Alrighty, is there anyone in the room? I think we're all here for other purposes. So that will take us to the approval of the minutes of the May 7th.
To approve.
I'll second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The best part of the agenda. We have an employee recognition today for Michelle Eline, who is in court administration. And I have done a double take on this. Michelle, 35 years? That cannot be accurate. That is so fantastic. Thank you. And we will call you up, and Judge Brubaker is here and would like to say a few words. Come on down, ladies. So Michelle, you must have started when you were like 10.
I was 19, almost 20.
Oh my gosh. Well, that is fantastic. So we have a little something for you. But Judge Brubaker, if you would.
I just comment. Sure. I just want to say, Michelle's one of the superstars of our court reporters. She just came with me full time in this calendar year, so I'm not going to allow her to retire.
She thinks she's going to retire,
but I mean, if you don't work with the court reporters, there's varying degrees of accuracy and professionalism in the courtroom, and Michelle exceeds all of those. Rarely is there anything I correct on an order, and it's usually because I said something wrong. It's not because she did something wrong. And so I correct those sometimes, but she's just the epitome of everything that you want in the court reporter, and she runs the courtroom very well and makes sure she's getting what she needs from everyone, me and the attorneys and the witnesses, and I do not want to see her leave. So,
so we're going for 45. Well, having only witnessed court a few times as a spectator to see how everything functioned, I have to say it's yeoman's work to make sense of all that's going on, and for a layperson in that environment, it's very impressive.
And it's also a dying skill. So there are not, are there any, two in the country schools open or something?
Well, two in the state.
In the state, okay. So nobody goes to court reporting, which is a shame. So, you have the recording, but it's different than what they're doing, which is taking every word down as it's being said. So
every and and.
Right, whether you want it in there.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations,
Michelle.
Yeah.
So I think that deserves a round. You need some formal ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Actually, can I get everybody to take like 2 seconds?
Center.
There we go. That's better. All right, everyone look here. I'm going to take several.
Hopefully you got one in there.
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need us any longer?
I don't think so.
Okay,
You're welcome.
All right, stick around for the fun.
Oh, it's got a whole presentation for us.
Congratulations, Michelle.
Thank you all for coming to support. All right, next up, we do have Toy Smith with us here to update us on the court collections unit. Hello, Toy.
Hi.
And I'm gonna access I'll just watch yours, but if I have mine handy, I was looking at it earlier and I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, great, thank you.
I don't think I won that.
Actually, I'll tell you. I'm gonna leave you hanging. Okay. I'm here to present the 2024 stats for collections, table of contents. We'll just skim through that. We'll start with the statistics. So the overview of collection tools utilized, which are some of the resources we use to pursue the further action for payments for people who are not paying. So administrative hearings in 2024, we collected $324,411. Collections court brought in $4,312, and driver's license suspensions brought in $481,872. We issued 1,161 warrants. We recalled 590. We released 153 people from prison, and we spent approximately 476 hours on the warrants. It takes us approximately 4 hours per warrant. So
if you can just, on that slide for a minute,
Yeah.
I was looking, I mean, clearly 2020 was 2021 was the exception post-COVID, would you say? So we're looking at pretty, you know, not, I don't want to say they're not flat, but you're not, you know, look, the license suspensions seem to be trailing a little. They were really, really high post-COVID. Is it something now that people are starting to respond, that they know that you're doing that? Because I think that was a fairly new tool that you had implemented.
So the reasons we can only suspend certain dockets if they have a traffic, if they're somehow related to traffic, DUIs and stuff. So we can only suspend people who have that type of charge. So that's one reason. And in 2021 and 2022, that was the only way we were able to enforce collections. We were not able to hold hearings, issue bench warrants, or any of that, or have collection court. So that's all we focused on, was to suspend every person we could who was not making payments. So everyone that we could probably was already touched in 21 and 22. So now it's just keeping up with new people who are not making their payments. We typically start with driver's license suspension before we're scheduling them for hearings or issuing the bench warrant.
Okay.
So it has decreased some, but I just think it's because of we've gotten everyone we could those earlier years, and now and even then we could only suspend people who have those suspendable offenses.
Yeah, and so I guess what I'm thinking then, this looks like, I'm wondering if this is where it's going to just kind of continue to slowly decline.
It could.
Okay.
It would not surprise me. I mean, I don't think we should see a large drop, but I don't think it's something that's you're going to see a huge increase.
Okay.
Admin hearings I have gone up, and I'm hoping to keep them rising some. Again, they're not going to rise a large amount, but we are holding them every month. The staff is doing every other month, but we're holding them, they're splitting that. So every month we're holding 3 hearings, and that does typically bring in money too.
Okay.
Trying to catch them wherever we can.
Very good. And the warrants issued are really busy.
Yes. Yeah, we're really, because we were not able to pursue collections for almost, it was 2.5 years. So it's really catch up, and that's going to take some time.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
The next slide is the driver's license suspensions. We suspended 641, we restored 581, 798 paid in full, and the time spent on suspensions was about 335 hours. Takes approximately 25 minutes to process one of them. Ability to pay assessment, we did approximately 18. Took about 4.5 hours to complete them. Again, we're not doing a lot of them. We're more negotiating with our clients, and we look at everyone's labor and industry. We can see what they're making. A lot of times the ability to pay packets, they're not completing them entirely. They have to hand in information. And it's a very frustrating process. And we're reaching out to them, we need this, and they don't get it to you, so how can you properly calculate what they're earning and their expenses when they're not providing you with the information?
So is this a case of being, you kind of know the amount that they can afford based on, and you're being reasonable out of the gate?
Yep, we have our normal standard amounts, which is $100 non-restitution, $250 restitution. But if you're on Social Security disability, it's, $25. Some people who are getting disability get a larger amount. Just show us, the amount you're getting and we will work with you. Like, we're very reasonable. Consistency, like if we can collect a lower payment, but they're gonna pay every month, that's ideally what we're looking for.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, total criminal and juvenile division collection. So adult probation collected $280. They're not really collecting anymore, so that probably should be in ours. There must be a case out there somewhere that's still connected to them. Unassigned collections was $1,087,015. And that is from unassigned cases would be ARD cases, juvenile cases, bail, cost and fines, filing fees, all of that gets included in the unassigned. And then our unit collected $4,425,747. $1,089,515 is what we collected towards restitution. And then the accounts receivable, age of case payment. So the total accounts receivable for 2024 was $67,193,271. The amount collected within the first 90 days was $42,888,105. 91 days plus is $19,223,246. And no payment would be $5,081,921. So those numbers, while they fluctuate a little bit, have been really, the last 5 years have been very consistent. The 0 to 90-day collections for the past 5 years have either been at 64 or 65%. The 91 plus days, for the past 5 years have either been 29 or 30%. And the no payment for the last 5 years are anywhere between 6 and 8%.
It's such a tremendous amount of accounts received. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It is, and it just keeps growing. It's crazy. The total AR and year data by benchmark. So the total AR has grown. 0 to 90 days has gone up, so that's a good thing. That means it's being paid quickly. Greater than 5 years has grown a little bit, and the no payment has grown a little bit as well. So the accounts receivable balance, time since last payment comparison. So in year one, $50,260,590 was paid. Year two would be $2,671,240. Year three would be $1,455,905. Year four would be $2,319,075. Year five, $760,928,000, and greater than 5 years would be $4,643,613.
So Toy, just orient me on this. So when you say greater than 5 years, you've got $4.6 million outstanding that people have not paid on for 5 years, or their payment that they made recently was last time it was touched was 5 years.
On this graph, Dana, please correct me if I'm wrong, but this $4,643,000 is the amount that was paid for people who owed over 5 years.
It's the opposite, it's outstanding.
It's the outstanding. So then, just to as the accounts receivable for the non-payment, the greater than 5 years.
So it's the amount that's still outstanding,
Okay.
but it's people that have paid. But they have made at least one payment, but they haven't made a payment for at least 5 years.
Okay, so the $4.6 million is stuff that's been hanging on our books for 5 years they made a payment, but they haven't made one for 5 years. So that could be,
They may have not made a payment because I'm seeing these numbers too for the first time.
okay,
And so it depends on how they're combined. They either made their case is over 5 years old. I have to look back,
so if they're.
but it's still over 5 years.
It's over 5 years. So it could be a case that's lingering out there. And when you're showing these numbers, you're showing if it's restitution, whatever it
It's
could be.
everything, yep.
So if someone is owed a $2,000 restitution from something that happened 10 years ago, it could be in that bucket. Okay, thank you. I
And
just,
there could be lots of reasons why they haven't paid. They
Right.
might be in a state correctional institution.
Right, I mean, anyone who's incarcerated, I mean,
Yeah.
that total number, which you'll see further down the slide, is definitely.
I saw the slide, yeah, yes, in
Yeah.
advance, but I just was trying to understand.
That's very confusing. I count on data for.
And it doesn't include the ones that have never made a payment.
Okay, so
I
this
just
is
went
only
back to the
people that
base
have
data.
paid. And so when you're focusing your collections, clearly a lot of time is spent upfront getting the people as quick as you can, because you're collecting a lot within the first 90 days. How much time do you all spend on trying to get this, quite frankly, a lot older stuff, you
Correct.
know?
So what we try to do is twice a year, I run a report. We're trying to get caught up on the people who have not paid in years. So each case manager has anywhere between 1,400 and 1,800 people who owe costs and fines. The reality is they're not touching each of them every month, that they just can't.
Right.
So we're running reports, and we've been running reports for people who haven't paid in the last 2 to 3 years, 5 to 10 years. But with each of those, we've got to touch them. We have to reach out, send a letter, we're scheduling them for hearings. And then once they don't come in for the hearings, we're trying to reach out to them one more time. And then that's why you're seeing the increase in the bench warrants, because that's the only way. They're eventually going to be touched by a traffic stop or something. They go to a casino and then they're caught. And then, they're taken to prison, and we can get updated information on them, try to get some money before we release them and get them set back up. But it is a process.
Yeah.
Um,
So if people, so sometimes we will have reporters watch our, meetings, and if there's a message that you want to say to people about this, would it be, if you owe the county money, reach out to your unit to try and get it taken care of, even if it's old?
Oh, absolutely. Because we tell our defense, this does not go away. Unfortunately, if it's 10, 15 years old, when you were sentenced to cost and fines, and it's not going to go away.
Right.
We will get to you eventually.
Ultimately,
It's gonna-
this is gonna surface,
Yep.
and if you know it's out there,
Yep.
it's best just to address it.
Yeah, and we will work with people. Life
Right.
happens. We understand times are tough, but it's still not going to go away completely.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So I just want to point out, like, when I look at this, and like, I start with, I'm looking at 2024, and I look at greater than 5 years, so that's $4.6 million is owed on cases where a payment has not been made in greater than 5 years. But that includes, right, from the 2023 numbers, that includes year 5.
Right.
And greater than 5 years. And when I look at that number, when I add in 2023, greater than 5 years and 5 years, that is greater than what is now greater than 5 years.
Right.
So when you start looking and you trace backwards, even like year 5 in 24 is year 4 in 23.
Right.
And you trace these backwards, you see that they are consistently chipping away at these older cases where payments haven't been made for a substantial period of time.
And Stacy, that's exactly what I was looking at, because in 24, you have to include what was 23s that.
Right.
All the
Yeah.
categories moved up. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
I agree, and I
Thank you
do
for explaining this.
I do think it's important, and that's why I was curious as to how you chip away at it, and that you are.
It is hard. I mean, but we do our due diligence, but it's a lot of report running and then a lot of time, but
Well,
gotta be done.
yeah.
Really good staff right behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. They work very hard. Okay, so the accounts receivable age of case non-payment comparison, year 1 would be $1,608,239. Year 2 is $682,516. Year 3 is $407,000. $44. Year 4 is $442,524,000. Year 5, $352,537. And then greater than 5 is $1,588,261. And then we take those same charts and do them with the number of participants. So time since last payment comparison for year 1, 6,118, year 2, 645, year 3, 416, year 4, 501, year 5, 268, and greater than 5, 1,242.
Stacy, you can almost see it easier in this number.
I agree, those numbers are easier to see.
To see where
Yep.
the carryover is being impacted by your efforts.
And then again, for the age of case non-payment comparison, year 1, 992, year 2, 353, year 3, 219, year 4, 190, year 5, 135, and greater than 5 is 917. The number of payment plans paid off in full was 1,246. And here, the next is prison population. So there were 938 defendants in 2024 that were sentenced to state, federal, or other prisons. And the total amount owed is $7,802,845. So that's a lot of money. The amount overdue is $1,675,551, and the amount not overdue is $6,127,293.
Is overdue those that have been released, or these folks are still?
No, they're still in.
incarcerated?
Yep, they are still incarcerated. Exonerations. In 2024, there were 148 defendants who were exonerated. 114 of them were deceased, and 34 of them were extenuating circumstances. For 2024, the total amount exonerated was $663,084. And there were a total of 379 cases. Next is the breakdown of collections by disbursements. So the total amount dispersed for collections was $5,488,196. The state got a total of $1,036,507. The county received $3,172,120. The municipalities received $185,696. Restitution received $999,098. And other, which would include prothonotary collection agencies, things like that, they received $94,776. And then below, the dollar bill is kind of broken out for you to see the percentages. So the state got 18.89%. The county received 57.8%. The municipalities got 3.38%. Restitution got 18.2%, and the other was 1.73%.
Toy, do you have any idea how that collection rate compares to any other counties?
Those numbers actually come from clerk of courts. That report comes from clerk of courts, so I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure I could reach out.
Dashboard, that the AOPC manages on pacourts.us that provides some of the breakdowns, but the data is not always as fresh as the data that we're providing. It's typically, it'll be October before they have 2024 available
Okay.
on their site.
Can I add to, among at least third-class counties, we are near the top for collections. Statewide, I think we're near the top as well. the problem you have with looking at some of that is county size does impact, because they do it off percentages. So Forest County does, and I'm using Forest as an example, that might not be the top anymore.
They have
Forest
one
County
flashing light.
does really well because there's only 100 people who live there. And if 5 of them owe money, their probation officer probably just goes and goes, hey, you didn't make your payment this way. It's very much a smaller threshold, so they get one big payment and their percentage goes through the roof. But we are doing pretty well when you look at that dashboard. We are among the better collectors percentage wise, even if, Little Forest beats us on occasion. But it does have to do with the population and the contact that they're able to have.
Right. Yeah. I think it would be interesting to see, because it would be a figure that we could provide back to the state. Like, this is something we're taking very seriously and we're working on for you as we ask them for support with different things. So
Right.
I would be interested, Stacy, once the numbers are released, to know where we are relative to other counties and certainly like counties, but then look at it from a dollar perspective.
I think too, it would depend on the type of original charge that has created the need for collection, right? Like, there would be some counties where there would be lots of traffic stops. There would be some counties where there wouldn't be as many, right? I think there's a lot of things at play there to compare.
But I think it's also, you all should be very proud too of the amount that has gone back to victims, the restitution that's been put into place, because I know that that's a very challenging component. So
Yes.
that's almost $1 million in that is quite good.
We tried, I mean, obviously we're working on cases, but if they owe restitution, like, we are doing everything we can to try to collect some sort of payment for them.
And I'd like to add too, and I may have missed the beginning, I apologize, I got stuck on a phone call, sorry.
That's right.
If it was already mentioned, statutorily, a minimum of 50% of any collections has to go to restitution. In Cumberland County, the president judge at the time, I apologize, I don't remember which one it was, did an order ordering the clerk of courts to make our amount 100%. So when these defendants are paying, with a few minor exceptions, there's a victim services fund, I think, comes first. There's a few things that come first, even if restitution is that. Every penny that comes in goes to restitution first before it goes to costs, fines, all of that. So victims get their money before we do. And that change was many years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. It was way before.
I don't even remember which PJ did it, but and that has been in effect since that time.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I didn't want to go there yet. Okay.
Here's the big one, right? Here's
Yeah.
the big one.
So I emailed the commissioners and asked them to guess the date of when we were paid for in full. As this slide shows it every year, I did give them the date that for like the past 5 years that we were previously paid in full. And Jean guessed April 13th and Kelly guessed April 2nd, and Kelly's closer.
Very good. Price is Right rules.
Yeah.
You have to win.
Easier when you're I will say in our collection advisory group meeting, I think Dana was, she got the date. It was April 6th. She
Okay.
was April 6th. No, she had no idea.
Very good, Dana, very good.
Is that insider trading?
It could have been, but I did not.
So thank you for participating in that. So the funds dispersed to the county. So the cost to collect in full, counting the cost for our department, the position we have in the sheriff's office, the cost of clerk of courts to process our bench warrants, and costs and fines to answer the calls to make the payments. Total is $840,302.41. So when you take the amount that was dispersed to the county, the $3,172,120, and you take away our costs, we are paid in full by April 6th. So everything essentially that we collect after that date goes to the county. And that amount for 2024 was $2,331,817.31. So,
Very nice.
yes.
Yes.
So that's,
Your favorite slide.
yeah, that is, I like that. Okay, section 3. So this is the raw data comes from the clerk of courts, the money that's dispersed to the county. So if you go to the grand total for 2024, again, you're gonna see that number, the $3,172,120 that was dispersed. And then above it is how it's all dispersed. The general fund gets the 2,051,051 and then so on.
Excuse me, I just want to let you know that Commissioner Eichelberger is on the line.
Did he just join?
He joined at 1:30, but I wasn't.
Okay, thank you.
interrupting.
I would appreciate it if moving forward, if the moment he joins, if the meeting has already started, if you would please
Okay,
advise.
will
Thank
do.
you.
The next slide is the expanded accounts receivable information. This comes from AOPC. It shows you the total AR, the $67,193,271 for 2024. The total dockets for 2024 was 24,840. The individuals was 11,996. Average docket per defendant is 2. Average age is 42. Average age at first docket assessed is 34, and average years outstanding is between 8 and 9. And then the next file again is from AOPC, and this again is showing you your total AR dockets and participants, and then it's breaking it out by the transaction category, the different assessments and adjustments, and then the payments. And then next is our unit. There are 7 of us. We have a position in the sheriff's office, Tim Black, who works for us solely, works on our bench warrants and all that stuff. The clerk of court's office obviously does work for us. They process our bench warrants, and in 2024, there were 1,161 warrants issued, 743 were recalled or otherwise processed. And it takes approximately 13 minutes to process, which equates to roughly 413 hours annually. And that equates on average to $17,161. And then cost and fines, approximately half of their time is spent on the fiscal and assessment side of cost and fines, and then the other half is taking payments. So therefore, the cost associated with collections is roughly $64,599.
So Toy, in this supplement, you're just giving us all the math that you used.
Yes,
And that's fantastic.
correct.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I appreciate the detail.
You can go back and see where the total numbers came from.
Perfect.
And this next slide, I pull a lot of those numbers to come up with these final numbers here. So that page.
And I appreciated the narrative that you provide, and, you know, how things move through once a payment plan's been established and all of it. So thank you for that. The one question I noticed was that you do have a relationship that you do send some to collection agencies, and one of your slides indicates how much they had collected. I think it was just shy of $100,000 or something like that. Has that been a relationship that once you've exhausted trying to collect something, then you kick it over to those folks?
Most collection, people who are sent to collections are out of state,
Okay,
because even if we do issue bench warrants on people out of state, but they don't get taken to jail. If they're arrested in Virginia, our people are not going to bring them back here, and obviously they're not bringing them here. They may tell them you have a warrant in Pennsylvania, but they're for cost and fines, but they're letting them go.
Okay.
So a lot of them are out of state and just people we can't find who have gone missing. We have a lot of resources, a TLO system, and Clear to try to find people who have gone missing. But even when we reach out and we get the return mail, like after so many years, we've got to do something with them. And they have some sort of tracers the collections agency has, and sometimes they have actually found people that we haven't been able to find. Previously, the 3 collection agencies we had were flops. They were collecting 2 out of 1,000. this law firm, who is a collection agency, really has done well. They've collected a decent amount of money and they are finding some people.
Oh, good. And then when they do that, is it just usually a split of the fee that they collect?
They, it's 25% and that gets all assessed to the person, the defendant. The county pays nothing.
Okay.
It gets assessed automatically. When we send them out for collections, that's another assessment added on to what they owe.
Okay.
So it does not cost the county anything.
Perfect. Better yet.
Yeah. Okay, and then last is a little bit more detail. So the cost to collect, the court collection unit costs $758,542 to operate in 2024. That includes the salary and benefits for our office staff as well as the position in the sheriff's office. And then additional costs related to the court collection unit include the processing and data entry in the clerk of court's office and computer software. So the total amount spent was $775,703. Our unit collected the $4,425,747 in costs, fines, fees, and restitution. So therefore, the cost to collect a dollar is roughly 17 cents for 2024. This translates to the collection of $5.88 for every dollar spent. And then the total cost of collections is the $840,302, which includes cost and fines, clerk of courts, sheriff, and our department. And to collect it, the cost to collect a dollar is roughly 15 cents, and that translates to a collection of $6.67 for every $1 spent. And then last is the overview of court collections versus the operating cost. So in 2024, our expenses were $43,513. For personnel, it was $715,030. So the total was $758,542. We brought in the $4,425,747. So we have a net gain of $3,667,205. So that's a lot of information, but that was our 2024.
Thank you, Toy.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it Very much.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Thank you.
And please thank your team on behalf of the board for the
Oh,
hard work that they're doing to help get these results. We really do appreciate that.
that's very nice. I will definitely pass that on. They will appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the board at this time?
I'll move to adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.
All right.